Let's talk about recent polling because a lot of polls right now show that in a head to head matchup, former President Donald Trump beats President Joe Biden by a slim margin, but still a margin. But in other polls, Nikki Haley is beating President Joe Biden by a wider margin. Why is this not resonating with GOP voters?
Because she hasn't been appealing enough to the base, appealing enough to go beyond their support for Donald Trump. This isn't a rejection of Nikki Haley as much as it is an embrace of Donald Trump within the Republican hierarchy, within the Republican base. And she's just finding that, and those are interesting to talk about. Oh, well, she actually has a bigger margin against Joe Biden in this state, in that state, or nationally. You're looking at something that will not happen. She will not be the Republican nominee for president in 2024. Could she have something ahead? Possibly, though I'd argue she's burning a lot of bridges on her way to certain defeat. But yes, I think if you look at this hypothetically, and Nikki Haley is less disapproved by the general electorate than the former president is, but it's a non-starter.
I am curious if you think in the primary season so far there have been any warning signs for former President Donald Trump, because in South Carolina we saw him beat Nikki Haley by 20 points, approximately 60% to 40%. But some people have said that 40% is a rebuke of Donald Trump. They will never vote for him in the general election. Do you see any truth to that?
I agree with your question up to the very end, which is, that means they never will vote for Donald Trump. That's not true. I think a lot of Republicans are conflicted, who are not big Trump supporters. But when you come down to it, Brittany, and it comes down to the real race between President Biden and Donald Trump, and possibly a third alternative, that's when the rubber meets the road. And the question is, will Republicans support Joe Biden over Donald Trump, given his lack of political standing, the dissatisfaction I think that many people have with his presidency? I think the answer ultimately is no. I think a lot of people won't be happy about being forced into that choice. A lot of people will make it not willingly. But I think the 40%, and by the way, 60-40, we're thinking, well, she got 40%. Here's the bigger headline there. She got 40% in her home state. She lost in her home state by 20 points. It was a huge win for Donald Trump. And you see some of the other numbers in other states across the country, they're beyond huge. They're beyond the word landslide. I'm not even sure what the word is. Annihilation. It's a political annihilation, right? So I don't see any real victory in your home state losing by 20 points on a one-on-one contest against somebody else. I think that is not something that you move forward with and say, oh, I did really well. I don't know how losing by 20 points factors into doing well.